On this edition of Southern Newsweek, a Dunedin cyclist is fed up with nails and glass on the city's roads. Shot over jet is set to go electric, and gold mining is on the rise again on the west coast. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. Many roads were closed and warnings in place across the south this week as the regions continued to feel the effects of wild weather. With rivers rising, a bridge was washed out near Twizel and there was flooding on some stretches of highways and other roads.
Lake Oho village was cut off after the bridge into the township was washed away on Tuesday morning near State Highway 8 after persistent rain. The Waitaki District Council says Civil Defence have been in touch with the village this afternoon, assessing infrastructure. Some properties in the area were evacuated overnight, including the Top 10 holiday park in Omarama, with Fire and Emergency New Zealand and police assisting. The owner of the holiday park says about 60 people were evacuated from the camp and transferred to other accommodation. State Highway 83 near Aviemore was blocked after a significant rockfall. Meanwhile, the Central Otago District Council has several road closures in force in the Maniatoto and is urging drivers to watch out for surface flooding. Near Ophir and the Ida Valley, the route between Galway Road and Fisher Lane was closed just after lunch due to flooding. Many other roads are closed around the south, including Omarama to Kudo, the Lindis Pass, Haast Pass and Milford Road. And there's a watch in Southland. The Matilda River at Gore was this afternoon 2.3 metres above normal and rising at 50 millimetres an hour, slightly higher than the river level at Matilda, which was rising at 99 millimetres per hour. And in mid-Canterbury, the Hakateri or Ashburton River is running very high, with the council keeping an eye on the situation. Across the south today.
A Dunedin cyclist who regularly commutes to work is frustrated after getting regular punctures from glass and nails on the roads. Duane Donovan wants the council to designate some roads as cycle-friendly, ensuring they get swept clean regularly.
It's a regular frustration for Dunedin cyclist Duane Donovan. He's been finding himself frequently stranded with a flat tyre on his commute to and from work because of broken glass, old nails and other sharp debris on Dunedin's roads.
I've just had puncture after puncture after puncture. I'm averaging 2 a month. You know, imagine that in your car, getting 2 flat tyres a month on the way home. It just would make you go insane.
Donovan wants the Dunedin City Council to designate some of the city's roads which are best suited for commuting cyclists to be swept clean of glass and debris more regularly.
I'd like to see some areas be priority. Sweep it once a week, make it actually clean. Have the parking wardens come here more often. Actually look after this area so that people know if I'm going from the town to Mornington, Belnose, Kaikorai, this is my primary way to go.
The council is yet to respond to requests for comment about the idea. In Dunedin, the South today.
Christchurch finally has its new stadium, or at least the go-ahead to build one. Councillors spent a day recently debating the issues, eventually voting to proceed with a fixed price contract for the city's long-awaited multi-use arena.
Certainty at last. Christchurch City Councillors voting 30-3 in favour of spending another $150 million to build a 30,000 seat covered multi-use arena. Christchurch's mayor and 16 councillors had 3 options on the table. Get on with the project, stop and re-evaluate it, or scrap it altogether.
It gives me great delight to support this today. We will finally be underway with a project that so many have been waiting for. Businesses have invested in the city on the proviso that they would have a stadium.
A fixed price contract of $683 million was secured earlier this week from lead contractor B6 Watpac, helping give confidence to some of the councillors. Under the finalised contract, the Australian company would take responsibility for all project risks and cost escalations. And despite a likely rates increase, 77% of respondents to a recent survey wanted council to proceed with the project. Christchurch's council will have to borrow the money to fund the $150 million increase, with ratepayers paying back the debt over the next 30 years.
No one is happy about the price. I think we need to be really upfront about that. Of course, if we could have done it for less, we certainly would have.
There was concern from some councillors that pushing on with the stadium would cause rates to jump up to 8.5% in the 2025-26 financial year.
I've heard from people who believe that there are higher priorities in this city repairing our roads, transport and water infrastructure, moving the organics processing plant.
Once it's up and running, Te Kaha is expected to bring in an estimated $3.6 million a year from sporting events, along with $10 million from international concerts and $5 million from other events. In Christchurch, the South Today.
The man in the engine room of the electric makeover for Queenstown's shot-over jet says it's all in a day's work. A Dunedin electronic engineer has been leading the charge to transform the popular tourism operation.
Imagine Queenstown's iconic shot-over jet with all whoosh but no roar of a V8 engine. That's the plan of Ngāi Tahu Tourism, to convert its fleet of V8-powered jet boats into electric-powered machines. Dunedin company Evolution is working on the project with Ngāi Tahu to provide the electric engines.
And we've put two 200 kilowatt electric motors in there and a 200 kilowatt hour lithium battery pack to drive it. So it's pretty similar to the old V8s, how it goes.
Hardisy's proud to have helped develop the world's first electric jet boat designed solely for tourism. But currently the boats only get about an hour's run time out of the batteries.
Have a massive battery pack on the side of the river. So you'd have a 500 kilowatt battery pack there, and it would just be a battery to battery fast charging. So the battery on the shore would produce all of the power for the boat, because the batteries can produce a lot of power in a short space of time. And it's still quite an efficient process to go from a battery to another battery.
The team will keep working to improve their performance so the electric jet boats can be operated commercially. The $400,000 project was funded by Hardisy's company, along with IKEA and Ngāi Tahu Tourism. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Gold mining on the West Coast has seen an increase in production in recent years, in part due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And while the local economy's been battered in recent times, the prized mineral has seen the opposite trend.
Could the West Coast be looking at a second gold rush? Gold mining has been a source of great economic benefit for the region since the first gold rush in the late 1800s. And since the March 2020 lockdown, gold has risen significantly in value, as people look for a place to secure their money in uncertain times. Patrick Phelps, manager of Minerals West Coast, says this could be because of the costly metal's physical attributes.
It's just one of those things that people feel comfortable. You can hold it, you can touch it, you can stow it under your mattress, you can bury it under a pot plant in the backyard, you can stick it in a safe deposit box, whatever. There are people who just seem to place quite a lot of confidence in something tangible that they can hold.
Over the last few years, gold broke through the 3,000 New Zealand dollar mark, nearing its record highs. In the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, fuel prices were relatively low, helping ensure gold mining returns were significant during this period. Back in 2017 and 2018, the price of gold was under $2,000 an ounce, showing just how much the mineral's value has increased. Phelps believes it's largely due to the sporadic nature of the world's economy since 2020.
People feel like they're living in less than certain times at the moment, and the gold price, can reflect that. It's not a guarantee. You see conflicts and pandemics and things like that where it doesn't lead to a skyrocket gold price increase, but that seems to be what's been happening in the last few years anyway.
And the future of gold mining is still looking bright. While diesel and petrol prices vary the annual returns of the industry, the sector remains profitable. Central Otago has also seen a similar boost in interest recently from mining companies. The continuing strong price of gold in its physical nature, ensuring the lucrative substance continues to be sought after on the West Coast. In Greymouth, the South Today.
Whaiakene, still to come after the break on Southern Newsweek. A diesel-powered plane is set to soar the Southland skies. And swimmers race in water temperatures below 5 degrees in Central Otago. Tēnā koe, welcome back. Hundreds of children packed into Otago Museum last Saturday night for a pyjama party, along with an equally enthusiastic group of adult supervisors.
A highlight of the 2-hour Pyjama Rama event was a song and dance session where children danced to songs by former TV presenter Susie Cato. Other activities included interactive science demonstrations, free planetarium shows and torchlit tours of the Animal Attic Gallery. Otago Museum Marketing Coordinator Charles Buchan says the party's one of the most anticipated evenings in Dunedin for younger residents.
Everyone's dressed up in their PJs, parents included, which is cute to see. They've also brought their torches and they get to go and explore through the galleries. We've got jumpy castles, Susie Cato's here singing. So it's a great night for the kids to enjoy during the school holidays.
The 600 tickets to the pyjama party sold out several weeks ago in just 3 hours. The popular event's set to be held again in December, the first time it's run twice in 1 year. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Some keen young environmentalists in Wanaka have been volunteering their time during the school holidays to give back to the local community through a special program.
Youth who dig nature, planting trees to give the whenua a helping hand. About 8 young people are giving up their school holiday time to give back to their local environment. Volunteer Fleur Maiden is among those taking part in a tree planting day and says she has simple reasons for doing it.
So I decided to do this because I come from an enviro school and it's a good idea to plant new trees in the world.
The day began with the youth visiting Te Kakano Nursery near Waterfall Creek before heading out to Domini Park. Kahu Youth Operations Manager Anna Sutherland is grateful for the support from the youth on community days like this. Te Kakano Aotearoa Trust says recycled wool and former cancer drug packaging is used as weed mats to protect the flora's roots. And when each young tree is in the ground, it's then protected with a wire fence. In Wanaka, the South Today.
A 20-year quest to refit a diesel engine in a top dressing plane is gaining altitude for Bill Sutherland. He's been working on the project alongside an experienced aircraft engineer and his team at the Gore Airfield.
It's nearly chocks away for takeoff for Southland's Bill Sutherland. He's aiming to prove it's possible to put a diesel engine into a top dressing plane and get it airborne.
This aircraft was built in Hamilton by Pacific Aerospace, which are now still building aircraft in Hamilton.
Sutherland's the former owner of a Waikaka transport company, meaning he knows a thing or two about diesel-powered engines, after working with diesel trucks all his life. But he always wondered if it was possible to power an aircraft with a diesel motor.
I was fiddling on the internet one night and saw this engine, and it was in a drone at that stage.
That drone was actually in Germany, with Sutherland flying there and negotiating to buy it from the manufacturer. His goal was to drop the V12 500 horsepower diesel engine into his 40-year-old Fletcher FU-24 top-dressing plane. He's working alongside Phoenix Aviation Maintenance aircraft engineer Peter Kempthorne. Test pilot Bill O'Connor has already taken the modified aircraft up for a couple of short test flights, with the team now waiting on the Civil Aviation Authority to certify the aircraft for commercial use. In Gore, the South Today.
Hundreds of Lego enthusiasts and collectors were preparing to showcase their designs last weekend in Christchurch. The city's annual brick show has grown to become the biggest event of its kind in the country.
Lego enthusiasts from across the South Island are putting the finishing touches to their Lego creations. They are getting their creations ready for the annual Christchurch Brick Show, which kicks off Saturday morning at the Christchurch Arena. The popular Lego exhibition's grown to become the biggest event of its kind in New Zealand. Dragons are particularly popular this year.
I modified it so it turned into a hydra with 2 heads, 4 wings and 2 tails.
Hundreds of thousands of bricks and countless person hours have gone into creating the more than 200 impressive structures and creations on show.
To me it's like, I guess, people that do knitting and do puzzles. We do Lego, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm never ever growing up. We've got 5 of us in the family and everyone Legos.
More than 200 enthusiasts and collectors of all ages will be showing off their designs, collections and contraptions.
I'm just getting it all set up, but it'll be all systems go tomorrow.
Get down here.
The 2-day Christchurch Brick Show runs over the whole weekend. In Christchurch, the South Today.
If you consider yourself a very hardy soul, there's a cool new sport you might want to get into. The first ever Ice Swimming Championships has been held in Alexandra earlier this week. Competitors from across the country took the plunge into water less than 5 degrees in temperature.
Braving the almost freezing waters of the outdoor pool at Alexandra's Molyneux Park. The inaugural New Zealand National Ice Swimming Pool Championships saw swimmers over the last few days competing in races ranging from 100 metres to 1 kilometre in length. Organiser Jono Ridler says there were times in the afternoons that pool temperatures rose to just over 5 degrees, which is too warm by international ice swimming standards.
It's actually got to be below 5 degrees for it to be considered ice swimming. So at the beginning of the day it was fine. So we're hovering around that 5 degree mark at the minute, which, you know, if you can get 4.9, that's actually quite perfect.
The challenge attracted swimmers from as far afield as Auckland, and Ridler hopes the success of this year's event will inspire more to take the plunge and try out the new sport.
I first came across the sport about 3 years ago when I came across a video on YouTube, and I watched these South Africans that were doing some swimming up in the Alpine lakes, and I thought it was the craziest thing, but you know, the thought kind of stuck, so I'd like for other people to see the same thing, and then, you know, we'll see you at future events.
The Ice Swimming Championships final swims took place this morning. In Alexandra, the South Today.
G'day. Still to come after the break on Southern Newsweek. Ice and fire combine in a Canterbury festival, and a new way of doing aerobic exercise kicks off in Invercargill. Tēnā koe, welcome back. A central Dunedin marae will shortly be operating as a soup kitchen. Ridler marae in Wakari says sadly there are many people in need around the city.
The wharekai, or food preparation area at Dunedin's Ridler marae, is set to become a busy place shortly, as they're about to open a pātaka order or soup kitchen.
We recognise that in the last couple of years there's been a lot of challenges that the whole world has faced. We've recognised the isolation that people have experienced. We recognise the understanding that people have come to that they lack skills when they couldn't access services.
Ridler marae manager Tanya Williams says a volunteer group is preparing to run the soup kitchen out of the marae in Wakari from July 28th. While disappointed there is a need for it in society, Williams hopes all who take part will benefit from the experience.
At whatever level that you're going to participate at this pātaka ora, at the soup kitchen, we want your life to be enhanced. Right from myself through to anyone and everyone that's going to be involved in this.
The pātaka order is set to be operating on alternate Thursdays and Fridays for 4 months, and Williams says volunteers are still needed. She says there's no reason for anyone to be whakamā or shy about coming forward. In Dunedin, the South Today.
It was both hot and cold last weekend in Kaiapoi as the Canterbury town held the annual Fire and Ice Night Market. The event drew a large crowd on a cold winter's evening to check out ice carvings and fiery poi.
The ice was flying at the annual Fire and Ice Night Market over the weekend in Kaiapoi. The event was part of the Blackwell's department store's annual Lighting Up Winter Festival, which included the Kaiapoi Art Expo and an ice sculpting display. Ice artist Victor Chiati says you have to be quick to create the cool sculptures.
You need to make it look quick mind and quick hand. That's it. No mistake. When you get a mistake, start again.
Hundreds watched on as Chiati's intricate ice carving skills were on display. In the evening, the night market drew in the crowds on a crisp night for entertainment and hot food, and to view the finished ice carvings, which were lit up to showcase the designs.
It's going fantastically. We're having Blackwell's Fire and Ice Festival. It's on again. It's been a wonderful event over many years, and Victor, our ice carving man, incredible experts, come all the way from Auckland, carved these masterpieces behind me. We light them at night time.
Entertainers with fiery poi helped heat up the crowd and keep the visitors amused. In Rangiora, the South Today.
A new fitness craze called Clubbercise launched in Invercargill on Tuesday. The classes offer gym exercises in a nightclub environment done to a disco beat.
The The clubber-size craze has hit Invercargill, with a crowd-filling ILT Stadium Southland to enjoy a free 3/4 introductory session. Clubber-size classes are a branded exercise regime which started in Britain 10 years ago and are taught in a darkened space with disco lights and UV paint if you want it.
Not many other gym classes are in the dark in a club scenario, and not many others have glow sticks either, so very exciting.
Described as clean clubbing without broken high heels and hangovers, the classes offer a fusion of exercise moves set to a playlist of club anthems.
Obviously, we're here for a good time. It's going to be so much fun, while also working out without knowing that you're working out.
It's a mixture of dance, combat, toning and training, so it's all cardio sort of based fitness, and it's just 45 minutes of fun.
Clubber-size classes are set to start at the end of July, with casual attendance costing $10. In Invercargill, the South Today.
Artistic Cantabrians looking for something to do these school holidays have been flocking to Cathedral Square. A mobile Pounamu carving unit has been set up, offering people the chance to create their own pieces.
Queues forming as people wait for their chance to have a go at carving Pounamu or greenstone. Free workshops are on offer from a mobile Pounamu carving unit, parked outside Christchurch's Central Library, Tauranga this week. Master carver and artist John Jeet and his team are bringing the art of carving the precious stone into the community.
It's absolutely wonderful, an amazing experience. The tactile aspect of it and the watching the shape and the form come out.
All materials to do the job are supplied for the keen beginners, with wannabe carvers rotated every hour. The lessons were offered on a first-come, first-served basis, with spaces for the week already full. Jeet was amazed at the response, but says Pounamu carving appeals to all ages.
It is really, really popular. People just love shaping and just love making, especially something so inherently beautiful as Pounamu.
He says the art of carving Pounamu is special to New Zealanders.
We want to be able to go to different community spaces and share a little bit about who we are as Māori and why this is so special.
Jeet's hoping to secure more funding to allow him to share his love of Pounamu with more of the community. In Christchurch, the South Today.
Some of the country's top snooker players travelled to Gore recently to take part in an invitation-only classic tournament. It was organised by local snooker champ Shannon Swain, who was himself competing in the event.
Taking their cues on the tables at the recent Gore Invitational Snooker Classic. The event's now in its third year, with some of the country's top players invited south to compete in the 3-day tournament at the Gore Town and Country Club and Gore RSA. It was organised by Dave Judd of Hastings, together with local player and former New Zealand champion Shannon Swain. But in an upset this year, Swain missed out on the final rounds.
We expected the local hometown hero Shannon Swain to get through and be in the top 8. Unfortunately, he was pipped by a under 21, Cody Yankovic, and it had come through. He's represented New Zealand overseas, Cody, in Russia. So he's notorious for taking out big scalps, and yeah, that's great.
Snooker fans across the country and indeed the world were able to tune in to the action with 4 cameras used to stream matches on the internet.
The New Zealand Billiards and Snooker Association have their own YouTube channel, and for the general Joe public out there, they know of the snooker fraternity, the pool fraternity. They tune into the channel and they can watch it on live stream.
The Classic was won by the country's #1 ranked player, Mark Carnarvon of Canterbury, who beat defending champion Neil Wally of Dunedin 4 frames to 2. In Gore, the South Today.
And that wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. Nō reira, kia pai te po, ka kite anō.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.